My manager took whatever she wanted from the supermarket and thought she'd never be caught. I'd been working at the supermarket for almost 4 years before I realized just how much my manager, Claire, had been getting away with. At first, I thought she was just a strict, slightly arrogant woman who liked to make her authority known. She strutted around in her black heels like she owned the place, barking orders, rolling her eyes at anyone who moved too slowly, and acting like the entire store was her personal kingdom. She was the kind of person who called others lazy for sitting down on their 5 minute break, while she sat in the manager's office watching TikToks on company time. But over time, I started noticing little things. At first, I brushed them off. Then I couldn't anymore. It began with a chocolate bar. I was working the evening shift, running cleanup with my friend and coworker Mia. We were restocking shelves when Claire walked by with her oversized purse. She reached over the shelf, grabbed a chocolate bar, and just slid it into her bag. No beep of the scanner, no receipt, no nothing. I looked at Mia. She saw it too. Did she just? I whispered. Mia shrugged nervously. She does that sometimes. Don't say anything. Why? Because last time someone mentioned it, they got their schedule cut to one shift a week? That got my attention. I was still paying off student loans, and my hours at the store were what kept my rent paid. Losing shifts wasn't an option. I let it go that night. But I started watching more carefully. The next week, I caught her again. This time, it was a pack of cheese and a frozen pizza. Then a few days later, a bag of shrimp and a bottle of fancy olive oil that most of us couldn't afford, even with the employee discount. She wasn't even subtle. She'd just slide them into her purse or reusable bag and walk out with her nose in the air, like no one would dare say anything. And for a while, no one did. Claire was good at making herself untouchable. She made sure her team was divided. If someone tried to speak up, she'd turn the others against them with snide comments like, open quote, oh, you know how they are, always exaggerating. She's just jealous because she didn't get promoted. I've been working here longer than anyone. If I wanted to, I could get half of you fired. Close quote. She made sure to give her favorites the best shifts and punished anyone who annoyed her. And since the store manager above her was hardly ever on site, she basically ran the place like a petty little dictator. One night, after closing, I saw her in the break room with two shopping bags. She was carefully tucking in steak, salmon, cosmetics, and a new Bluetooth speaker that we sold in the electronics section. My heart started racing. She wasn't just taking chocolate bars anymore. She was looting. Claire, I blurted, stepping forward, you didn't scan those. She turned slowly, giving me a smile that made my stomach twist. Oh, Ethan. Her voice dripped with mock sweetness. These are just perks of the position. Perks, I repeated. She lifted her chin. I run this store. I keep it together when corporate can't get their heads out of their spreadsheets. A few freebies are the least they owe me. She said it with the kind of confidence that made it sound almost reasonable, like she'd convinced herself this wasn't stealing, but it was. The next morning, I found my new schedule taped to the board in the back. My 38 hours had been slashed to 18. When I confronted her, she smiled. Oh, don't take it personally. We're just tightening the schedule. I knew it was retaliation. She didn't stop at my schedule. She started nitpicking my work, forgetting to approve my vacation request, and whispering things to other staff when she thought I wasn't listening. She'd made me a target. I would have quit right then and there if it weren't for my rent. So I played along, smiled, nodded, pretended to be a good little employee. But inside, something burned. And slowly, carefully, I started paying closer attention. If Claire thought she could rob the place blind forever, she was wrong. I started noticing patterns. She'd take the most on Thursday nights, because that's when the delivery truck came and the stockroom was chaos. It was easier to slip things out then. She also favored expensive items: seafood, meat, electronics, skincare, fancy cheeses, supplements, and gift cards, always just under the level that might trigger a loss prevention report. She was smart, I'll give her that. She never used the same method twice. Sometimes it was the reusable bag. Sometimes she'd shove things into her personal locker, then take out the trash and slip them into her car. Once I even saw her ring up a training transaction on an empty register so it looked like she was working, then void the sale entirely. I started keeping notes: dates, times, items, estimated value. I didn't tell Mia. I didn't tell anyone. If she was willing to cut my hours for just asking a question, I couldn't risk tipping her off. The breaking point came on a rainy Friday night. We'd just finished mopping the floor when a regular customer, a sweet old woman named Mrs. Kelly, came in right before closing. She picked up her usual bread, milk, and a box of chocolates. When she got to the counter, her card didn't work. She looked so embarrassed I almost offered to pay for it myself. But before I could, Claire swooped in. She looked at Mrs. Kelly like she was a cockroach. "We're closed," she snapped. "If you can't pay, you'll have to leave." "Please," Mrs. Kelly whispered. "I just need a few minutes." "Store policy," Claire said. "You can come back tomorrow." Mrs. Kelly's shoulders sagged. She slowly put the items down and left, head bowed. Then Claire picked up the box of chocolates, the exact same one, and slid it into her purse. Just like that. I clenched my fist so hard my nails dug into my palms. It wasn't just stealing anymore. It was cruelty. That night, I decided I wasn't just going to expose her. I was going to make sure she never got away with it again. I waited 2 weeks. I needed the right timing. Claire was careful, but she also had an ego the size of the entire store, and ego makes people sloppy. So I planted bait. On inventory day, I was assigned to help unpack electronics. Among the shipment was a small display of wireless earbuds. New, expensive, and popular. I quietly made note of the serial numbers of a few units and placed one box very conveniently near the manager's office door. Sure enough, 2 days later, it was gone. No sale record, no return, no transfer, just gone. I checked the cameras. But of course, Claire was too smart to leave an obvious trail. The angle of the camera near the office was conveniently always malfunctioning. Funny how that only happened around her. But she didn't know I'd made my own backup. The week before, I'd stuck a small keychain camera in the corner of the break room above the lockers. It wasn't against store policy. Technically, it was a public employee area, and I only recorded the lockers. When I checked the footage, there she was, clear as day. Opening the box, pocketing the earbuds, and tossing the empty packaging into the recycling. I smiled. One recording wasn't enough. If I went to corporate with just one clip, she'd cry harassment, say I planted it, and I'd be the one escorted out. I needed a pattern. So I spent the next month quietly gathering everything. Video of her pocketing items, photos of the empty packaging she threw away, notes with timestamps and product codes, copies of voided transactions and fake training receipts, inventory discrepancies that lined up perfectly with her shifts. The best part? She was getting bolder. She started walking out with 2 shopping bags instead of 1. Sometimes even stopping to grab things on her way to her car while waving at the closing crew like nothing was wrong. She truly thought she was untouchable. And in a way, she was. Until I stopped playing by her rules. Corporate visits were rare, but every few months, someone from head office would show up to do an unannounced inspection. Everyone hated those days. Except me. I'd been waiting for it. When the notice came down that a regional manager would be visiting on a Tuesday morning, I almost laughed out loud. Claire always took something on Monday nights. That Monday, I made sure the bait was ready. A brand new box of premium steak, some fancy beauty products, and a $50 gift card placed temptingly near the stock door. She didn't disappoint. As I watched from the aisle pretending to restock, Claire slipped the items into her oversized black tote, zipped it shut, and walked into the office like it was nothing. I took a deep breath. This was it. Early Tuesday morning, before Claire even arrived, I sent an anonymous email to the regional manager who was visiting. In it, I attached a full report of dates and items missing, screenshots of voided receipts, camera stills of Claire pocketing merchandise, a summary showing a loss of over $8,000 in shrink tied to her shifts. I didn't sign my name. I didn't have to. I also included a little tip. Open quote. If you want to catch her, check her bag at the end of the shift. Close quote. Then I clocked in and waited. Claire was all smiles when the regional manager walked in. She put on her sweetest fake voice, fluttered around like the model employee, barking orders at us to make everything perfect. But I could see the flicker of nerves in her eyes. She always hated inspections. When the manager asked to review loss prevention reports, she hesitated. When he asked about the camera near the office, she stammered something about technical difficulties. He didn't look convinced. The rest of us played our parts, smiling, working, pretending not to know the storm that was about to hit. At 5:42 p.m., as Claire was about to leave with her giant black tote slung over her shoulder, the regional manager called out, "Claire, one last thing. Routine bag check." I'll never forget the look on her face. For a split second, her confident mask cracked. Then she forced a smile. "Of course," she said lightly, "no problem." But her hands were shaking. She opened the bag, and out came 2 packs of premium steak, a bottle of expensive face serum, a box of imported chocolates, one of the wireless earbuds, and the kicker, a $50 gift card still in its packaging. The manager's eyes narrowed. Claire stammered, These are samples, manager samples. I was going to, log them later." "No such program exists," he said flatly. Then he pulled out a printed copy of the email. Her face went pale. Security was called. She tried to talk her way out of it, of course. Said she was being set up. Said it was a misunderstanding. But then the manager pulled out the evidence. Every single discrepancy. Every voided receipt. Every missing high-value item logged during her shifts. And then he showed her the stills from the camera. She went silent. Corporate doesn't play around when it comes to theft. Within an hour, she was escorted out of the building by security. They didn't even let her go back into her office. Her badge was deactivated on the spot. She'd worked there for over 10 years. All gone in a single day. The news spread like wildfire through the staff. Some were shocked. Some weren't. Mia pulled me aside and whispered, "Was it you?" I just smiled. Let's just say karma caught up. Claire was arrested a few days later. Apparently, the store filed a police report after finding thousands of dollars of missing merchandise tied directly to her. And the best part? She'd been bragging on social media about her designer groceries and skincare for months. The police found boxes of stolen items in her garage. Corporate sent down a stern memo, installed new cameras, and offered everyone loss prevention training. My hours were restored. Eventually, I got promoted to floor supervisor. They never found out it was me. About 2 months later, I ran into Claire in the parking lot of a strip mall. She wasn't wearing her heels anymore. She looked tired, bitter, and older. She glared at me. "You think you're so clever." I met her gaze calmly. "I didn't do anything. You stole." She clenched her jaw but didn't say another word. She got into her dented car and drove off. It felt good, not just because she was gone, but because she finally faced the consequences she dodged for years. The store felt lighter without her. No more walking on eggshells. No more fake smiles hiding fear. People actually laughed in the break room again. Mrs. Kelly came back to shop with us, and I made sure she got her chocolate with a discount every time. I didn't need anyone to thank me. Watching Claire walk out with security, clutching the bag she used to steal everything with, was more satisfying than any praise could have been. Some people think they're too smart to ever be caught, that they can bend the rules and no one will stand up to them. But karma has a way of finding them eventually. And sometimes, karma gets a little help. Like and subscribe, share if this happened to you or someone you know.